Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, and how are you all? How are you all this evening? You all there?
I would say I'm recovering. My foot was hurting me all morning.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of eased up this evening. Of course, I take a high painkiller. I'll take a Coxia.
Okay.
Kind of
Okay.
eased up so I could kind of walk around and, well, like I watching how much thing had to be done. And I'm wondering, Christmas is 1 out of 365. Why I have to do all of that work? It's
Well,
just
true.
1 out of 365.
Yes, 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 yes.
So I just watching around and saying, wait, I have to do all this work, boy. Nah, I have to do all of this.
uh, or you could schedule it, because that is what I have been trying to do in order to maintain the things that has to be done. Schedule it, because sometimes you think that you could do 100 things, and then for the day you recognize you could have only done 30. So scheduling it certainly helps. So try that for this week.
Thanks.
Yes, 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 yes. And SGL, are you there? How are you?
I am okay. I am well. Still going to the motion. End of the year project to kind of close out, tighten loose ends, and forecast for next year.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I feel like I've basically been working like 7 days. So I'm kind of feeling it, to be honest. So, but I'm great. I feel blessed. I'm
Understood.
driving right now, so that's why I'm putting myself on mute so much because I don't want to interfere with the noise. But yeah, I'm here.
Understood. 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 And guys, we are at week 51 of 2025. How does it feel to be at week 51 of 2025? Are you all reflective? Are you excited for 2026? Are you just want to move on with it and you want 2025 to be over?
I think all of the above for me. Definitely reflective and looking forward to 2026. Not dwelling on, oh, I didn't get to do this 2025.
Mm-hmm.
I did what needed to be done in 2025, just like in 2026. What needs to be done will get done, and not living in the past, not living with regrets, and accepting the present and looking forward to the future. So I'm feeling blessed. I'm very optimistic.
Okay, very, very good to know. Anyone else? How are you feeling now at week 51 of 2025? All right. So I guess no one has.
Feeling some amount of calm and peace, you know, and the joy that goes with the season. That's how I'm feeling at this time. Just a kind of calmness and peacefulness. Even though there's all kinds of things going on in the country, I'm not really kind of taking it on. I'm
Okay.
just feeling kind of, as Jill said, you're feeling blessed. You're just not taking on a whole. You're going with the flow
Mm-hmm.
things.
Understood. Understood. And what have you been able to manage better for 2025 as compared to other years? What can you now manage a lot better?
Good night.
Hello, Anastasia.
Hello. For me, I have learned this year, I have learned to manage myself better. one of my goals was to deepen my relationship with myself. That was one of my goals for 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And for sure, I have grown. I have deepened that relationship. I've learned to say no. I have learned to choose me. Um, I'm not saying that I'm 100% there because I still have difficulty at times making decisions if to put me first or put somebody else first, or
Mm-hmm.
I I struggle in the area sometimes when I say no, feeling guilty for it. I struggle with that still.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, I have come a long way in making decisions and consulting with myself before I make decisions. Before it was off the bat, I saying yes, okay, no problem. And then afterwards, I'm tired like a dog, you know? And you're pleasing people at your own expense. You're sabotaging your own self, your peace, your health, your everything is you're just sabotaging you, and putting you last. And I have learned that here what I am important too, and I need to take care of me. So I have grown in that area, and I'm thankful. I am so very thankful for the fitment. I am very, very thankful. I cannot finish say how thankful I am for going on Facebook today and coming across the fitment. You understand? The Genius Gold Challenge. Oh my God, the questions. I have to think deep, I have to think hard, I have to figure out, you know? Oh boy, that was a challenge. That was a challenge, but a good one. All that helped me to grow as well. Because I mean, you all ask some questions that I wouldn't ask myself. You know, and yes, it really, really sent me in some places that was real deep, and I had to come face to face with myself, and all that was good. Coming face to face with myself was good, and being true to myself was good, right? So yes,
And
that was my 2025.
and that is the best place to be and start from, because everything starts with you. So when you sit with yourself and you have certain conversations and you discover a lot of different things, remember you're really equipping yourself to manage life from a different perspective in comparison to just doing whatever is the norm or whatever is your default, because it really pushing you towards approaching things in a different way. And in doing so, and I tell you, it's just simple practice. Simple practices, and then you would recognize you're getting different results. And some of the things, yes, they are difficult to, as Anastasia saying, you have to essentially look at you. But after you overcome it and you continue to just make the next step, you recognize some things get a little easier. And then, of course, the challenges continue to come. But now you would be better equipped to deal with it. Because even I had a situation today where I received a phone call. Now, usually, when you receive that phone call, you usually get stiff because it means something happened. And Adana, you have to try to fix it as best as possible. And then receive the phone call, and you just have to take a deep breath and tell yourself, listen, deal with this from a different angle instead of getting tense every time this particular person call, because you have something to fix. And in doing so, talk to the person, you give the person what is the best choice in the moment, and after that, just kept it moving. And you're just moving out throughout your day, and you're trying to release the conversation, release the scenario, release the experience, because at the end of the day, we are not the experience. And to just move on with your day. Because you could only carry with you what you want to carry with you. Because if I decided to spend the entire day thinking about this and making it consume and irritate you, and you would recognize that you're living, but you would be living in a very miserable experience day after day with the things that you tend to carry with you every day. And it's not necessary, you know. It's not necessary because once you break the pattern, and you could ask yourself when you're dwelling on something for too long or some negative thought for too long, ask yourself, how far would I be if I spend this much time focused on what I want? And you would see how quick you would shift your focus because you recognize sometimes how much time you're really wasting just on things that on situations especially and experiences that have already gone, that already passed. They serve their purpose. It was just there for you to learn a lesson. You don't have to keep carrying it with you every day, because when you carry things with you every day, they become heavier. They weigh on you. Sometimes they weigh on you, you don't even know that it weighing on you until of course it starts to affect your body. You end up by the doctor and you're wondering, how am I now diagnosed with this thing? And that is how it tends to happen. I tell you, it's in the simple things every day that you decide to carry with you day after day that are no longer required. Anastasia, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
Yes, I also wanted to say that I was very grateful also for the fill in the blank, having to read the articles. Oh
Yes.
my God, the articles, they're so deep, they're so informative, all that add to the growth. You know,
Yeah.
you and Quinton, only do the articles justice. Trust me. Hats off to you all.
Well, yes. And not for the articles, you would see Quinton and I, but it have other team members who are
Okay.
the indie
In
background.
the first.
They
Okay, all right.
yes, it's the
Okay.
full team. It's just a small group of us, and we get the things done as best as we possibly can.
Well, congratulations to the team. Congratulations. Okay?
Yes, thank you so much. And that's what we really do it for. We really do it to benefit the befitment members on the whole. And life really belongs to you. And you have to create the world that you would like to experience. And for 2026, I really hope that for those who are logged on, that you could really shift your focus. I know for 2025, a lot of us were dealing with unresolved things. You were dealing with like building your resilience when challenges come. How do you deal with this challenge? So now dealing with certain things is a bit different. You have a different perspective in how you approach things. So that moving forward for 2026, you could really focus on what you would like to experience. And I know that for last week, during the Better Series workshops, um, we were given very specific details as it relates to the topic, a year that matches your priorities, your true priorities, creating a genuine pathway for the year ahead. And even the topic with mental and emotional renewal, releasing outdated beliefs, clutter, and mental fatigue. Give yourself the opportunity to really refine the things that you were practicing in 2025. Just refine it, refine it, refine it, refine it. It's not about beating up yourself and making yourself feel guilty for anything. No. At the end of the day, you practice, you did your best, and it's just to refine the processes, refine what is working, also refine what is not working to make it work better for you. And Befitment is always there to support via the app, via these sessions. We have a lot of outdoor activities, we have workshops, we have so many different things to really assist and support you all through whatever you may be experiencing. So I really hope for 2026, especially, you all could be laser focused as it relates to really achieving, because now I know you would have a better understanding, a better footing of how to deal with things as compared to 2024. You could certainly say in 2025, I could approach things more confidently, especially challenges when they come. When the challenges come for 2025, you're not running and cowering and hiding as much anymore. You're able to, you might take a hard swallow and then approach it, but you're able to really approach it from a different angle, knowing that, listen, this is not bigger than me, and I could certainly manage this in a better way. And in doing so, you have a better, solid foundation in order to really approach 2026. Because we're certainly not in the same space that we were in 2024. And I know that the lessons and the challenges and the resilience and the confidence that you would have built because of those challenges would certainly solidify that. So, for all of those who are here online, welcome to tonight's session. Sorry, I know that we kind of start already, which is 2025 growth lessons and momentum. And it's really about a little bit of reflection and how certain challenges have really made you more resilient, and how your mindset have shifted and helped to define your year, and how the lessons that challenged your comfort and it also sparked growth in the moment. But what do you think for 2025 was the most significant and reoccurring lesson that you had to learn in order to move yourself forward?
I think for me it would have been there's no one else but you. And when faced with situations like Anastasia, I would use it almost like a mantra sometimes to pull myself back to where I'm supposed to be. When you find yourself, one of the things I had to work on a lot this year was how to let go of what I consider to be family ties. And because to me, that was a big thing. That was family, my definition of family, it was a big thing for me. And where I would put myself in debt almost to assist. And 2025, I had to really have a good look and take in the conversations and the lessons and the wisdom, and accept that you need not carry this, you needn't continue with this. And by degrees I was able to let go, and let go, not with spite, not with any kind of bitterness, but just to realize that everyone has their own journey, and my definition doesn't make their journey any different. I have to really focus on me and Whereas before, in doing something like that, you would be tempted to be a little, I don't want to use the word selfish, because this morning I was reading from one of the lessons and the question was, what is selfish? What's selfish? So, but to be a little bit more focused on me and to let go of the sort of definitely attachments with where what I consider family would be. And one particular thing was, without dwelling on it forever, in the background was there, it was sort of niggling. And on Saturday, it just ironed itself out because I had, by that time, let it go and said, okay, this is what it is, and nobody's going to die. Nobody is going to die for not having that person in your life or whatever it is. And Saturday, the same person just drove right on up to say, hi, hello, long time, so. And I was like, okay, nice to see you, nice to see you. And the same thing happened with another relative who had not spoken to me for about 2 years. And so letting go of the notion of you need to have people in your life in a particular way. That was a definite growth from 2022, 23, 24, 1960, 70, 80, 90, I'm telling you my age. So all the way just going forward to now get to the point where it's okay. It's okay. If you never, you'll still be okay, and the other people will be okay. Now I still have like one or two left to clip some strings and whatnot, but 2025 was definitely a year where I leaned more on there's nobody but you. So if you're seeing a problem, it is you are seeing the problem. How do you get yourself out from seeing that problem? To go see something else. If you feel bothered, it is you feeling bothered. You either fix whatever you're feeling or seeing, or but you cannot keep dwelling on it. And I think it will take more practice, but I think I have finally turned the corner a little bit. Turned the corner with respect to that, and that is what 2025 was for me. And like Anastasia, I started off wanting to have that kind of growth, wanting to be a little bit more refined in those areas. So, yes, I'll say probably 75% and continuing.
Okay. And it really is what you're saying is really true, because even for 2025, I have also really truly understood the depth of the statement. You have created the world that you are now living in. You are at the helm of that creation. The only way for that to change is if you make the choice to change it. But everything that you are currently experiencing is what you have created and is what is required for you to move you forward. And it is very hard to accept. It is, hearing it for the first time, it truly is very, very difficult for you to accept, because you're thinking, why would I create this and why would I create that? And in certain situations, especially when you are uncomfortable and you're thinking to yourself, no, I didn't create this, but yes, you did. A lot of times unknowingly, and the uncomfortable situation is what is required for you to Move into what you have been asking for. But if you keep running from whatever that is, you would recognize that you have the same reoccurring things happening over and over and over again. But it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to keep carrying this forward or you want to experience something different. All that you are really required to do, I'm telling you, get up in the morning and decide, listen, today I am making a different choice. Once you get up in the morning and decide, today I am making a different choice, that is exactly what will happen. But if you keep getting up in the morning and just referring to whatever your default setting is, you would keep getting the results of your default setting. And most times, the results of your default setting is what you don't want to experience. But if you don't practice something new, you would keep getting that default setting day after day, week after week, month after month, and of course, year after year. Everything comes down to you in each moment. You're going to keep making the same choice, or are you going to make a different choice when the opportunity presents itself? That is truly what it is. Would anyone else like to share, like, what was a defining lesson for them or a pivotal lesson for them in 2025?
I would say this is you about, well, the focus on you was the big thing for me. Just like you all said. But I was looking at it from the perspective of slowing myself down. Stop being on a hustle with everything. Wanting to do this and do that and stop doing that. Focus. Stop procrastinating. Another big thing was, you see that thing about procrastination? Stop the procrastinating. You have to do something, organize, plan out your thing, and get it done. And the big thing for me with all of this is letting people be. Stop trying to control how people thinking and what they're doing and how they're doing it, and you know, let people be. When I got that lesson with that was involved that with a Kindle, let people be, that was a central point for me.
And that is what today's post was about. Let me just read it for you all quick. Control is a distraction, focus is a choice. When you let go of managing the world, you gain mastery over the only power that matters, your response to whatever shows up. Because really and truly, that is the only thing that you are in control of, yourself. But if every time something comes up, and again, it is with the practice, when the challenges come, what is your response? How are you managing your response? Is your response the same thing, or are you asking yourself and you're asking everything, why this happening to me? Not understanding that this situation is part of the whole, and you are also part of the whole. And it is coming to you because it has to come to you to show you a different perspective. You might have to learn a lesson to make you stronger, more resilient. Because with each lesson that you face, you would recognize that is what happens. You're being prepared for wherever you need to go, wherever your next step is. But if every time you um, encounter a challenge, or just as I was explaining before, you get a particular phone call, and every time you get a phone call, you get tense because you know it's something that you have to fix or you have to resolve. How do you manage it moving forward? But you really have to practice, 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 practice. Because even for these sessions during the week, I know it is a lot to absorb, it is a lot to swallow. But the only way to really make it a lot more manageable is to put it into practice anytime the opportunity presents itself. Just put it into practice every single time the opportunity presents itself, and then you would be able to better manage everything that comes at you. And what is something that you now practice that you didn't use to practice before? What is something that works for you, a practice that works for you now?
Hi, good night. I think, sorry for hearing the Christmas chorus things in the background. I think for me, something that I practice now that I've learned is kind of along the lines of what Catherine is saying in regards to family ties and um, that attachment to family. Because I think for me, you grow up with a close knit family, and especially like being a parent too and being like a single parent, you realize that you're so attached to your kids. And when you think that you're helping them to become independent, um, a lot of times you are enabling them because you're kind of reliving your past. Okay, well, I don't want my child to experience, the hunger or the poverty so you overcompensate, right? But then you realize as they get older, because I had this conversation up until this weekend, that they don't know how to think, they don't know how to function on their own, they don't know how to rationalize things on their own because you've been the one that's doing everything for them, So for me is being able to identify where I am, the problem, so to speak, in terms of not letting them go out and explore and learn and fall off the bike and bump their toe and, just be there to help them up. Um, that was a big thing for me. And in regards to family, I think a very big thing that I had to learn was even with family, they are who they are where they are. They, their path is their path. Like you could want the best for someone, and for me, I really feel that with your family, you could want the best for someone. Like I've grown a lot in befitment. I've learned a lot, you know, and it's like, I want you to experience what I experienced because it was so good to me, or it felt so good to me. I really want you to experience it. But no matter how much you want something for somebody, they have to want it for themselves. And if they don't want it for themselves, there's nothing you could do about it. And I get to the point where it pains me, it hurts, with your kids, with your loved ones. It hurt. Like, what's wrong? Why can't you see it? Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? If you only do it, you would know how good it is. And then I really had to learn how to step back and be okay with them being who they are. And even if, like you said, they fall and they bump their toe, well, that's their journey. And you really cannot do anything for anyone, make them acknowledge anything, make them see anything from your perspective, make them understand anything from your perspective. They have to want to, and they have to put the work in, just like I put the work in. And if they don't, it's okay. But I had to learn how to be okay with me thinking that they're not okay. I had to learn how to, like with anyone else, it's their journey. With every action, there's a reaction. With everything that you do, there's a consequence. There's nothing good, there's no bad. I might think it's bad, but that's whatever they're going through or whatever they have to go through is for their evolution. But I really had to learn to make peace with myself and accepting them for where they are and who they are, wherever they are. That was that took a lot for me to get to this point to be like, they are who they are, and I love you for who you are. Even though I feel like you could probably be doing more or less, but that's just where you are, and it's okay. It's okay. So I think that was a big lesson that, I'm still learning, and the importance of your spoken word and speaking thing into existence. I'll tell you, like, it gets so like simple for me. Like yesterday, I remember my daughter was saying, she wanted to have this discussion with, like a family discussion. And I got up yesterday and I was saying to myself, today would be a good day. But I was like, I don't want to say anything to her, just in case, let it be on her. And then all of a sudden she's like, I'm calling a family meeting. I'm calling a family meeting. But it didn't even register to be like, I was just thinking about this. And here it is manifesting itself. So we have to be very careful, especially as we start to evolve spiritually, especially after when we start to know who we are. We really have to understand how powerful our words are, how quick we could get things to manifest, and be careful of what we're asking for, and be careful of what we're thinking about others and how we judge others, and how we see others. So that was my 2025. Well, what I learned for 2025.
So, as Lisa was speaking, one of the things that I continue to have to work on is, now that you have the awareness that there's only you, focus on you, and everyone else has their own life to live, and they live by their own choices, just like how you live by your choices. How then do I achieve a better balance between these are your choices? So, live with your choices. Do not keep hopping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. In terms of, you choose this with your full chest, then experience it with your full chest.
Mm-hmm.
Do not then expect the same kind of support or consideration that you would have received in the past when the relationship was more, what's the word I'm looking for? When it was the old Eden.
Mm-hmm.
You want freedom? Freedom looks a particular way. You want your choices? Those choices bring certain things. And therefore, how do I then balance? Because sometimes I feel a little bit of irritation coming on
Mm-hmm.
when these flipping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, to me is, okay, fine, you could expect some level of support, but with your full chest,
Mm-hmm.
the same way you could declare that, and the same way, whether you declare it yes or no, there's a recognition that people have their own lives to live. As you live that life, how to balance now the new normal, which is, I really do not have to provide you with my presence nor support in that space the way it used to be. So that is a balance I'm still working through.
Mm-hmm.
because it's, and this is where I have to spend a lot of time practicing the what am I feeling as opposed to how am I feeling. What am I feeling? How am I feeling? What am I feeling? Because that I'm using that to help me navigate the current gray areas, the gray areas, and to do so without the guilt that Lisa was talking about.
I
You know,
yeah,
so
I completely understand what you are talking about because, well, you all know that my mommy passed away and my mother was a net for a large amount of persons, family members too. And after she passed, what was originally happening is that certain family members that my mother used to save, and I think it's the same situation in terms of they come into you, Catherine, for resolution and support, right? And they started to redirect and come to me, which made me start to feel very overwhelmed because you a part of you would feel a sense of responsibility essentially. And you see, yes, what used to happen was A, but now it is something different. And what I started to do in the moment was when they came with whatever the scenario, the experience, whatever it is, I started back asking them, so what are you going to do? And I remember once one of them came and they were like, we going to? And I said, no, what are you going to do? And in doing so, it removes the responsibility from you finding the solution to now this person have to recognize and understand and also accept that there is cause and then there is effect. So how am I going to deal with the effects of my choice? Because it is not a we scenario, it is a you scenario, you know? And that is what helped me address when that was happening to me. Because you see, especially with certain relationships and even with certain family members, we are, some of us, we have to be the, you know the term, the yardstick, the fall person, the net, the person that people would tend to run to for certain things. And in doing so, essentially, every time you save them, you're removing the opportunity for them to really learn how to manage and do things on their own and how to navigate. Because if you keep stepping in to navigate, they're not getting the opportunity to learn how to navigate and how to really figure things out and how to figure solutions out. So, in asking them the question, what are you going to do? It really lets them sit with it and really try to, okay, how am I going to sort this out? And then after about 2 to 3 times, they didn't come back to ask me, what are we going to do about the situation anymore? Because let me tell you something, you see, living not knowing and living knowing are two completely different things. Yeah? When you recognize, just as B. Fitman would always say, you are responsible for you. And sometimes you sit and you recognize how much, as Anastasia was saying, you spread yourself across so many different lives, trying to assist and trying to help. And in a lot of instances, you insert yourself unknowingly, and now it reaches a point where life is forcing you to release this attachment. Yes, we form a lot of attachments and really accept what the truth is, which is you are really responsible for you as you. just as you are. And everybody else is also responsible for themselves, just as they are. And you see, once you come to that understanding, things are going to be a lot different. And I tell you now, they would call and they would say, I am going to do so and so. I say, okay. And then they would come back and say, well, it worked out this way, or it didn't work out that way, or I did this instead. And they learn now to navigate for themselves, you know? But it is a very kind of ticklish and a touchy thing, especially having been there for whoever the persons or person is for such a long time. But I'm telling you, it reaches a point where you can no longer manage it, and you certainly have to release it. And let me tell you, sometimes you have a fear and what's going to happen, and if they're going to be okay, nothing will happen. Nothing happens. The only thing that happens is they learn how to manage it differently. I am telling you, you have the fear within yourself about how you're going to be perceived and how and how and how and what. It is going to resolve itself. I am telling you, it is going to resolve itself. I'm seeing two hands raised. I know Nicola's hand was raised before.
Yes, I just wanted to share, or I guess provide some insight, especially in terms of Catherine question, because even in letting go and the person decide that, or people or whoever it is decide that, or they want to come to you for something, they choose to come to you. So you're not really in searching yourself. So in that sense, you could still be a support system to them. If you know within yourself, I really can't deal with this, then you set your boundaries. No, as Adana say, you make a decision, stand up. But it's okay to still provide support while allowing people to be who they are.
Yeah.
Think about it. Like the tree, the dirt don't say, well, use the tree so you do your own thing. I'm not giving you any nutrients. So they will still work as a system. So we are allowing people to be, but you can still provide some sort of support. And again, you provide the support, they choose to do this, well, then you make a decision and you have to stand up in a decision because you think, but well, this is just my personal thing. For me, I wouldn't just, oh, you make the decision and I'm cutting you off. No, I would still be there, but I would be there at a distance. And if I know within myself, this going to hurt me or this going to, I really cannot do it genuinely. I set that boundary. And then you would know because it would follow your intuition. Sometimes it's no, leave them alone.
Yeah.
You leave them alone. Sometimes it's helping the situation. You're helping the situation. Because sometimes when you're leaving them alone, they need to learn their own lessons.
Yep.
So I leave you alone. You fix it, makes sense. Sometimes it's all right. I would do help the best. And when I'm doing it from a space of no attachment. So you're doing it, this is what needs to be done, and then you go again.
Yeah. Anastasia, I'm seeing that you also have your hand raised.
Yes, one thing I realized that is that now that you're learning different, somehow or the other, like you can't go back, you know. Like if you only try to go back, like you just is a different feeling. You're just going back is not an option. You reach here, and like if it's only forward you can go, you cannot go back.
It really is not an option. Huh? It really isn't. It really is not. Moving forward is just forward ever. How you see things, how you approach things, what your perception is, because now you know that I might have my muscles grow a little 10% more than it was last year. And it's really how you decide to approach things, from what angle, from what perspective. And even just as Nicola said, when the situations present themselves, what you're going to do? Ask the question, see what the thought comes, what thought that comes. If the thought says no, then it's no. If the thought says, well, help, and it's just that particular percentage, then do that. Or if the thought says, well, ask them, what are you going to do? I don't know what to do in this situation. What are you going to do? You know? And that would allow them the opportunity to really navigate. Because listen, when I look back at life and I look back at even the generation that was before me, I said, we look to you all so much for answers. And you all really learn things in a very different way in comparison to us, because to me, we have a lot of support. We have social media, we are AI, we are everything. We just have to check on the phone to see what the answer for whatever is, and we will get a solution. Whereas you all, yes, we still have challenges, but you all grew up in a different era where, like, I was just checking online, I looking at people who have maps. Now, a map to me would be like gibberish. Total, utter gibberish. Now we just insert a location in a phone and the phone takes you there, you know? And you all grew up really navigating, really navigating. And we grew up with additional support in comparison to you all, but not even comparing. But that is why we tend to look to the generation before so much. But even in us looking to the generation before, we also sometimes have to learn the lessons. We certainly have to learn the lessons. And the lessons always come to make us stronger. We do not understand it in the moment, but the lessons always come to make us stronger, more resilient, and to make us approach life from a different perspective. Remember, everything that you are currently experiencing is there for your expansion. Do you want to stay the same? Or do you want to truly expand into what you have been asking for all the time? And that is really how it works. And even for 2026, when you look at the year, what are you carrying with you into 2026? Will it be same old from since 2023? Or will it be, I am approaching things differently?
I think, like Anastasia was saying, once you start to apply the things that you learn, you can't go back. You can't. So you could only go forward. You know what I mean? If you really want to progress, evolve, you could only go forward. So I would say for 2026, it's pushing forth, continuing to grow, continuing to apply the knowledge, and just, continue to learn more about you and become the true you that you were meant to be.
Yes. Anyone else? What would you be carrying with yourself into 2026?
I was figuring that if you practice what you learn, right, you could become, you don't have to control others. You could be a good example. When people see the changes that be coming upon you, um, and how what you're doing and so on, you could become a shining light
Yeah.
to others. I figure that is what I'm about to do. I could just use the knowledge that I have, the awareness and so on, use what I have now and become a shining light to others. I don't have to tell them anything. I don't have to control or tell them do this and do that. No. I just have to live and follow the path and continue going forward.
Yes. Just practice, and practice and focus. That is what it takes, truly. Practice and focus. Anyone else? What would you be carrying into 2026?
the practice.
Yeah.
More and more practice. More and more self-reflection. It's more by understanding that the self-reflection is not for self-pounding, but really for growth, for seeing things as they are, not as I would want them to be. For example, like today, I just kept talking. By the time we got to 1 p.m., I was like, Lord, Lord, Lord. This is a day that I would just have to write off as non-productive. I had planned to do this, and I planned to do that, and I planned to do this, and then I found myself saying, no, but no, 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 no. Really. Instead of saying, this is non-productive, go and see what you said this morning. And did it coincide with how the day went? Because you said, where are we going today? And what do you require? And you found it going against what I had planned to do. But there were instances where I can say, oh, this is probably why things didn't go the way I wanted them to go today, because this is what was required of me for today. And after a while, I just said, you know what? Let me just relax. All the fighting up and the fighting up, let me just relax. Take a deep breath. Walk around a store. Have something to eat. Stop fretting. Just rest yourself. Get ready for 7 o'clock. And just accept. And I remember saying to myself, if you accept what is in front of you, then you would not be so anxious. So more of that. More of that. Instead of holding on to the old way of, well, I wanted it to be so, this is what I thought it was going to be like, and just accept what is there, which is what we have been taught to do. Focus on the moment, focus on the moment, focus in the moment, so that the other moment could reveal itself. So I ended up doing that, and I said, you know what, let tomorrow be another day. Don't fight up with this day the way you've been fighting, and just accept that these were some of the things. And I even ended up helping out someone, and I remember saying, you know, this is probably why the day didn't go the way I wanted it to go, because the universe knew that you would need help around this time, and had I gone and done what I wanted to do, I would not have been physically present to be able to assist you today. So more of that, because for me, that is where the growth is. That is where the peeling back of the layers and the onion, and just dropping off things that you want to have. And earlier I heard you say control is a distraction, but I did not catch something as a choice. But
focus is a choice.
Thanks. It really is just letting go of things that you feel, that I feel should go a particular way, because then that, it brings on the anxiety, it brings on the irritation, it brings on the anger, the extra thinking. And that is what I'm trying to work out. That's what I'm working out of. I'm not trying anymore. That's what I'm working out of. The extra thoughts that prevent anything useful from happening, because the extra thoughts are in the past and they're in the future. They're not in the moment. So going into 2026, I know that with consistent practice and application, everything physical that I want will present itself very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that is for me is there already for me. I just have to be in that moment, and that is the goal, 2026.
Mm-hmm. Noted, 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 noted. SGL, are you there?
I'm here. I'm here.
So for 2026, what will you be carrying forward?
I believe I've been in a journey. Like I probably have said that before. It's almost like I got introduced to this group at a time where I was definitely searching and looking for self growth. So I would say I'll probably continue in that same vein. I heard a lot of the things folks were saying in terms of learning to control yourself. You cannot control others, accepting everyone is on their own journey. How you deal when what seem to be unfortunate situation happens. How do you behave to that? And to the year, to this last year, I think I've had a lot of these experiences, a lot of opportunity to practice those. I definitely hope to continue in that vein, to just be at peace and be in neutrality and understand that life is happening with or without me. And the best I can do is position myself to live the best life possible and to be gracious to people. That's one of the things I want to learn. I think once you start knowing and growing, I think someone said a spiritual journey, right? Once you start discovering yourself on a spiritual journey, I think that spiritual journey requires for grace, not necessarily accept everything people do or say to you, but grace enough to say, you know what, this is where they are at. I'm still going to continue on my own journey. So I learned a lot through this year, even the few sessions that I made this year. And I definitely hope to continue to carry the lessons learned to next year. And thank you.
Yes, 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 yes. Guys, a really important thing to remember is that you are exactly where you are meant to be. So start from there. In 2026, remember, you are exactly where you are meant to be. So start from there. You are not meant to be anywhere else, doing anything else with anybody else. Start from wherever you currently are right now and focus on where you would like to go, what you would like to experience. Yes, things are happening. Do not let your environment shape you to more of the negative side. You know, the environment could shape you, yes, but it's really to make you more resilient in the moment. It's really not about breaking you down or even making you start to feel like you're stagnated and you cannot move from where you are. You are a creator. You are a creator. What are you creating? What new will you be creating for 2026? Start to think about it. Write it down. What new would you be creating for 2026? Every time the thought comes about something that is upsetting, take that energy and that focus and ask yourself the question, what new will I be creating for 2026? Replace the negative thought with something else and then see what comes from there. See what thoughts come, see what steps come, and follow those particular steps. And I would like to read, let me just read this post for you guys before I let you all know what the schedule is for this week. So let me let you see what the post is. All right. So for this post, the way you communicate with yourself sets the tone for how you engage with the world. If there is love and authenticity within, everyone will feel and experience. If there is hate and ignorance within, everyone will know. There is no conversation greater than the one you have with yourself. And let me read a section from this as well. You become what you repeatedly tell yourself. So the question is not what do others think of me? The question is what am I telling myself when no one is listening? Because your voice is the one that ultimately decides who you become and how you show up in this world. So choose it wisely, especially as you go into 2026. Don't go into 2026 angry about the things you didn't accomplish or worried about what you think that you should have done and you didn't do it as yet and all of that. You are where you are meant to be. So just start from there. And even to continue with this discussion, for tomorrow at 6 p.m., we would be discussing who you are being shapes attraction. So we would be looking at identity, presence, and relational patterns because you know some of these patterns have us in a bind. And then from 7 p.m., of course, we have the Be Fit, Fuel, and Flex full body workout session. Wednesday from 10, we have counseling and consultations. And then from 6, we would be looking at abundance is a system, not a wish. And that is why so many of the weekly discussions focus on discipline, because you recognize that discipline works with a system as well. And of course, abundance is a result of that system. So we would be identifying habits, beliefs, and of course, consistency, which is also something that we look at in depth during the week. On Thursday from 10, we would be having counseling and consultations. Then from 6, we would be looking at attraction versus attachment, which is part of what we discussed tonight as well. So if you are interested in learning about letting go of force, control, and desperation, feel free to join. If you are not yet a member, reach out to us and we will certainly give you the details so that you'll be able to join. And then from 7 p.m., we have our Be Fit water aerobics workout. Friday from 10, counseling and consultations. From 3 p.m., we have Free to Be, where we celebrate, relax, restore, and unwind. And on Saturday from 10 a.m., we have counseling and consultations. And from 3 p.m., we would be closed. And on January the 10th, Saturday, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., we would be having our sip and talk again. Another year, another win. Let's get it. So it would be at the Balance Center, Chaguanas. The cost is free for those who would like to join online. WhatsApp sip and talk to 3361809 to register. So, of course, you could bring your drinks and come. Let's discuss making your 2026 goals a reality. So, if this is something that you are also interested in, please let us know. And
Could I ask a question?
uh-huh.
So for the people that is outside of Trinidad, we have to register as well?
Everyone has to register.
Okay.
Yes. Whether it is in person or online, yes. Because even for the online, the spaces are a specific amount of spaces. Yes. So you're certainly going to have to register.
And what time is that?
From 4 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Nice.
Yes. And guys, the winner of the Genius Goals Challenge would be announced at the year's end, which is like a week
That's right.
again. Yes. And we have another Genius Goals question for this week as well. So look out for it. Feel free to answer, participate. Because just as Anastasia explained, and I know Lisa has also explained this as well in the past, it really allows you to do a deep dive and to really dig deep to answer and identify certain things within yourself. And of course, you are a lot stronger because of it. So, guys, as you
Another question, sorry. So we have another Genius Goal question for this week, for next week, or?
yes,
Okay.
yes, it would be uploaded by 9 p.m. And
And that's the last one, or you don't know?
that should be, I would have to confirm if that would be the last one. I would let you know by tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. So, guys, we have a week and a half again of 2025 practice, focusing on you and practice, replacing the negative thoughts with focusing on what you would like to experience. Practice it. Practice it.
Could I interject?
Mm-hmm.
For all the other people outside of Anastasia and myself, please, 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 for 2026, do the Genius Goal Challenge. For 2026, even if you don't want to upload your answers, just do it for your own personal growth at home.
It really, really gives you a different perspective. It really, really, really does, because it helps you to really self-reflect, but from deep, deep, deep within. And even when you look at where, certain people have started to where they are now, it certainly does help you to overcome a lot of the things and release a lot of unnecessary things as well. So, guys, thank you for logging on to tonight. Remember, we are practicing when the negative thought comes, you are replacing it with whatever you would like to experience instead. Remember, when the opportunity presents itself to practice, 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 practice. So thank you all. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful week. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.